If you want something, dream, dare, do. If you want something extraordinary, dream, dare, do with great mentors. If you want to learn a powerful lesson about yourself, become a mentor. I've been blessed in my career to be mentored by amazing leaders who gave me a lot of wisdom and growth. Through hard work and their precious guidance, I built a meaningful career. Then, one of the joys in my corporate life is to mentor people not only in my team, but also talents within the company. Last year, I decided to take those skill sets forward and try to apply them in other parts of society. So I signed up to 2 different social mentoring organizations. And as luck would have it, 2 fascinating women entered my life. Both 27. They have absolutely completely different life backgrounds, life circumstances, skill sets, and needs, and yet they were a perfect mirror of each other. Meet Anne. Anne is doing 2 master's degrees simultaneously, one from Harvard, the other one from MIT. She called me while she was in the first year summer internship in her master's degree. She called me from Rwanda, Africa, and we couldn't hear each other too well, but we introduced each other, and she told me that she was volunteering in a government-level agency working as an advisor to attract foreign investment into the Rwanda economy. I was so impressed. She's 27. And I thought, oh my God, I'm not doing this when I was at 27. What more can I offer you? I should be doing what she's doing. As we started to work together, we discussed her life ambitions, her career goals, her life purpose, 10-year visions, and how to save the world. Anne appreciated the value of mentoring. She was diligent, she's self-disciplined, she finishes every reading assignment that I assign to her before our mentoring call. She's the one who's driving the relationship. Here, meet Sarah. Sarah has very different life circumstances. We were matched through a nonprofit organization in France called Led by Her, a fantastic organization that helps women sufferers of abuse and help them rebuild their life and financial dignity through entrepreneurship. Sarah married very young. She escaped her violent ex-husband. She doesn't have higher education, and she has no family in France. Mentoring Sarah was a very different experience for me versus the corporate mentees or academic mentees. In the first 2 months, I couldn't get hold of Sarah or to come in and engage in a regular mentoring schedule. I was the one always urging her to make mentoring appointments with me. Then, one day over Christmas, as Sarah missed another mentoring appointment with me, I felt so frustrated. So I called her to see what happened. She picked up the phone and her voice was shaken. She said, "I can't pay my rent." That was a bucket of water on my fire. It really puts things into perspective. And I was determined not to let her down. Every month, I would invite Sarah to come into the office, where I would book an empty guest conference room after work, and we would work on our mentoring sessions together. The first time I gave her a tour around the office, the global headquarters of the #1 cosmetics company in the world, I explained to her this might feel a little bit intimidating. It might feel like this part of society is a little bit far away from you and from your daily experiences. But I said to her month after month, when we continue to meet here, one day this will become your routine. This will become your familiarity. And this will become your workspace. Because I believe in society, people have different statuses due to different life circumstances, but that doesn't mean people's innate worth are any different. And over the next couple of months as these two women generously led me into their lives, and as I had continued to explore their beautiful minds, I was in awe of the similarities between these two fascinating women. Despite their life circumstances, one on each side of the spectrum, they were strikingly similar at their core. Both were fantastic, good quality souls. Both were intelligent, both were courageous, and both shared the same hopes in their lives. They also shared the same fears as well. They shared the same doubts, insecurities, anxieties about themselves and about the future. And you know what? Yes, with a Harvard MIT double masters, you still have those anxieties. And you know what? Their anxieties are not so different from those of mine or yours. I learned firsthand that at the heart of it, human beings, we all share the same emotions inside. We all have the same fears and hopes in life. I also started to understand and see for myself firsthand the impact and the importance of education. Anne, because she's had the benefit of education and training, has a high level of strategic thinking. She's able to make good decisions after good decisions and go on to a positive cycle. Sarah, on the other hand, doesn't have the benefit of the same training or analytical skills. So she tends to take the risks of making less than ideal choices after less than ideal choices that spiral into a more difficult situation. And as we know, life is the result of the daily choices that we make. Anne has gained abundant skill sets to carry on creating a career, a brilliant career, and also a self-sufficient future. Her worries are more long-term, and I am less worried about her. Sarah, on the other hand, are more restricted by her current set of skill sets, and her worries are more immediate. She worries about food, shelter, and basic transportation. So we worked out that by the month, it takes about 750 euros to survive in Paris. That amount seemed like a fortune to Sarah, and it brought her great anxiety. So we tried a different technique, which is breaking it down by the day. By the day, it means 25 euros, and that's all we're going to focus on. So we put together a concrete action plan for Sarah to find hourly jobs and enable her to find and earn 25 euros a day and regain her stability first. And she does that day by day, humbly but proudly. Through her own effort and with good people around her, Sarah gained color in her cheeks, her head a little higher, her voice a little more confident, and her eye contact a little steadier. I was also impressed by her intelligence and her fast capability to evolve as I see her take our coaching techniques session after session. I see her reinventing herself as a young woman from a very difficult life situation to a woman who is rebuilding her life with strength, with courage, and slowly but surely, she is rewriting her own self-identity. Through Sarah, I saw the possibility of human potential, and the inspiration was incredible. A lot of people think mentoring is formal transmission of knowledge. I think, and I believe, that mentoring really is an act of kindness that needs to happen on a daily basis and scaled across more society to benefit more people. Research shows that 55% of young people who come from low-income societies who have mentors go on to higher education. 65% of the people who come from unemployed communities who have mentors go on to secure employment. And 75% of executives say that mentors play a key part in their careers. I can certainly attest to that. Now, while mentoring is a very commonly known and heard of concept in our era, let's take the US, for example, which is one of the countries that is most popular and widely practiced in the concept of mentoring. According to statistics, only 1% of the people are actively engaged in a mentoring collaboration. Isn't it strange to think that this is something we hear about every day, and in practice, the numbers tells us that mentoring is actually niche in practice, and it needs to be scaled across the world, and there's still a lot to do. It's kind of like recycling 25 years ago. 25 years ago, 30 years ago, recycling was something we had heard of, but at the time, not many people have actively participated in it. And over time, over the decades, with continuous advocacy and effort, many people nowadays, including governments, are actively recycling for the environment. Now imagine if mentoring also goes through the same transformation and the same cycle, where it transforms from a heard of concept into a mainstream daily action that everyone does. That would be amazing. Collectively, we could make a fantastic change to the world. 1%. Imagine if we take the 1% mentorship ratio of the US and extrapolated it to the current world population of 7.6 billion. If we did that, that would mean that every single person in a country the size of France would receive mentorship guidance. And if we bump that number up to 2%, we'd be looking at the entire population of Russia, the 9th most populated country in the world. Imagine that. If we can do that, we would be applying and activating direct, impactful, positive change together to the world, to the next generation, and this is the duty of educated global citizens like us. So where's my two mentors now, and what's happening to them? Anne is applying for jobs as she waits for graduation this June. I have no doubt she will go on to build a fantastic career, and very soon she will also become an inspiring change agent herself. She dreams, she dares, and she does it. Sarah is building her entrepreneur business plan for her textile business, Cashmere. With the support led by her, she will continue to rebuild her life and regain her financial independence. She has courage, she has conviction, and she's ready to do it. And me, Shirley, I continue to serve as their mentors and stand closely by their sides. Mentoring really is a two-way healing process. There is great power in serving and helping others. And when two people come together at the moment of contact, when one flame lights another, both people end up shining a little brighter. When I thought my role was to be teaching my mentees knowledge, in fact, they taught me profound wisdom. From them, I learned about stereotypes, both for people who are more fortunate and less fortunate in society. I thought I was a compassionate, non-judgmental person. Well, it turns out I still need to work on some of my judgments, and I do have prejudgments. I thought I was a humble person. Turns out I still have to tame my ego. The life goes on, and the journey and the learning goes on for them and for me. I also started appreciating even more my career. And thanks to the organizations, the schools, and the companies that had nurtured me and given me all of these skill sets to become a change agent in society. Before meeting Sarah, I hadn't realized that I had grown to this powerful change agent. And through my knowledge and my skill sets that I had learned through corporate and education training, I'm now able to apply it to the society and make contributions as one single individual. Ultimately, I realized that at the end of our lives, there's no bigger moment of truth than that. It's one single conversation of us versus us, asking ourselves, am I proud of the way that I used my life? Did I live to my fullest potential? Do I like myself? We're still young and we don't know how life is going to play out in front of us. Years, decades, hopefully. But I know one thing for sure. For me, personally, I want that final answer to be positive. And I know for me, joy comes from service. Lifting others as I continue to build my career through mentoring is one of the many, many good, accessible ways to do that. So next time another person comes up to you, reaches out, and asks you about a question about life, about career, about their insecurities and hopes, I hope that you'll remember my story of the 2 mentees that changed my life perspective. And I hope that you will give them a little bit of your time and your service. Watch both of your lives transform, and watch both of you shine a little brighter. And one by one, as we all advocate and act to make mentoring a mainstream activity, collectively, we would be making enormous impact to the world and the next generation. Thank you.